Eating right is important to us and our families and even to our planet as a whole. So to give us ideas on recipes that are good for us and Mother Earth is chef and best-selling cookbook author Jennifer Bushman. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, this is an amazing issue. You know, you're hearing a lot about the oceans right now and what's happening with the oceans in terms of depletion. You know, the oceans are one of these very stressed places now. There are areas of the ocean that are actually depleted as much as 85%.
Wow.
So it's a significant issue, but it has an amazing ability to replenish itself. So that's kind of what we're talking about today is how do I cook more sustainably if I'm cooking fish so that I get something that's healthy for me, but also is healthy for the oceans.
And we're actually talking about a fish that's hugely popular today, aren't we?
We are. We're talking about salmon, and specifically, you know, it's confusing when you go into the grocery store, you know, because there's this big, wide seafood case, and you don't quite know how to pick something. How do I even know if what I'm buying is sustainable? So the good news is, in the seafood counter, they always have to mark things of what the fish is and what country it comes from. And then Monterey Bay Aquarium has this fantastic app, and you can get it on the App Store, or you can read about it at seafoodwatch.org. And what you do is you actually just type in, you can see this line here, you type in what you're getting. So I'm looking at, say, salmon, country of origin, and you put that in, and then up will come either a red, a yellow, or a green rating. What green means is that you can buy it all the time. It's sustainable, it's in season, it's probably raised properly. It could be a raised fish as well as wild. Yellow, it's something that is good, but we're watching it. And then red is never ever buy it. So you go to Seafood Watch, you type this in while you're there, and not only are you going to get an education, but you're also going to start to learn, is this something now that is going to be able to replenish, be able to be safe to eat? So that's the beginning. Now, what we've got today, actually, you're right, is salmon. And this is Verlasso salmon. It's the only farmed salmon that's been ever given a good buy alternative rating by Seafood Watch. So that's pretty significant because in the past, they've thought of farmed salmon as being very depletive for the environment. It has to do with how it's fed. Verlasso's actually farmed off the coast of the Patagonia in these beautiful waters that come up off of the Antarctic. And the currents are very strong, so you get this great, very, very healthy, what we say, happy fish. And that you were asking earlier before we went on air about, you know, what about omega-3s? What about fat content? Verlasso has the same omega-3s as wild and nearly the same fat content as wild, which is very, very important because a traditionally farmed, more what we call commodity salmon is actually very high in fat.
Oh, and what about mercury? That's a big concern these days.
It is. Now, mercury comes from other things, like what the fish are eating, for example, feeder fish, things like anchovies and herring and sardines, and that makes the mercury higher. Verlasso, actually, that's also, by the way, what's depletive to the environment. Feeder fish are needed by lots of other fish, and in an effort to farm more salmon, we've depleted the feeder fish population by as much as 70%.
Oh my gosh.
Verlasso uses a yeast in their diet as well as feeder fish, which means there's no detectable mercury in the fish. The omega-3s are very high because of the yeast, but they don't get all of that mercury level because they're not dependent on that feeder fish diet.
Interesting.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. Yeah, we're making a cedar plank salmon, and what I did was I began by really soaking the cedar, and cedar is available in the grocery store now. You can easily find it. You soak it in water for about 4 to 6 hours, get your grill nice and hot, gas grill or charcoal, and fire it up. And then just lay the salmon on it as soon as you see the cedar smoking and cover it. This will only cook for about 20 minutes. The salmon will be perfectly cooked through.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, and then we're going to make a little lemon gremolata to go with it. I have capers in here along with garlic and a little Dijon mustard. I'm going to add some parsley to this. And then I'm going to add some lemon, and you can use the outside rind of this lemon, or you can use some preserved lemons if you want. These are a little harder to find, but they're so delicious. And then you just mix this together and add some olive oil to it. And all you do is sort of drizzle it over the finished salmon, and you can serve it, you know, with all of your favorite summer foods. You could actually add this if you wanted to make a lasagna or a pasta. Cedar plank salmon is delicious in that. And then you can of course, have it as a leftover over a salad or something. So, and Verlasso salmon is available at Fresh Market. So the great news is Fresh Market is doing an incredible job with adding sustainable fish into their program, really with a beautiful sustainability plan for having all sustainable fish in the future.
And I want to have a chance real quick too to say you're a cookbook author. Where can people find these recipes?
Yeah, the recipe for this, for the cedar plank salmon, is on verlasso.com, so they can go to that. My cookbooks are the Kitchen Coach series. You can find those online.
Excellent. And spell Verlasso real quick for
It's
us.
V as in Victor, E, R as in Robert, Lasso, Verlasso.
Sounds fantastic.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for the advice.
You're welcome. Thanks so much for having me.
And we'll be right back.